Welcome to the inaugural Whiskey Bugger live stream. I am Will, and this is the Whiskey Bugger channel. So I am a resident of the Southeast. I've grown up here, lived here my whole life, and I love to fish, and I love to drink whiskey, and I like to talk about it. So what I'm doing tonight is a little call-in show. It's something that we've done from time to time on the podcast, which is a podcast I do with my buddy The Grease. You can check that out. It's about whiskey primarily. But, you know, I like to talk about fishing, so I started this channel. I've done a few videos, and I'm going to do these live streams from time to time. So what we do here is this is like old school radio show. There's not a lot of these on YouTube, but they are super fun to hear your stories. I want to hear your big fish stories. I want to hear your small fish stories. I just want to hear you spin a yarn, tell a little lie on the internet so it can live in infamy forever. Go to that phone number you see at the bottom of your screen. Just call it 270-612-2275. Give me a call. You'll get an automated screener. It'll take your comment and your name, and as soon as they start pouring in, I'll start taking them. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we've done it over on the podcast, and people tend to enjoy telling a story or two. But starting off the night with a little drink, I've got a Jack Daniel's single barrel rye. This is cask strength. They started doing these last year, late last year. You could get a single barrel pick of the barrel proof rye. Until then, you could only get the 94 proof rye. It's really good. You know, I thought I'd drink something Tennessee tonight since I am outside of Nashville here in Tennessee. I've lived here about 16 years. It's the longest of any of the places I've lived in my life. But like I said, I grew up in the Southeast, grew up fishing with my granddad, started out young. We'd go to the lakes of Alabama, ride in his truck, get a Hardee's biscuit in the morning, and we'd go chase mostly brim, mostly some bluegills, some shell crackers, things like that. We'd bring them back if they were big enough, and my grandmom would fry them up. I learned to clean them when I was young, doing that with my granddad, and we'd just spend all day outside enjoying it. Mostly throwing worms on bobbers. I fished when I was young. I would go to the golf course ponds in my area around where I lived in Central Florida, and I would fish for mostly some mutant bass that lived there that maybe had a little bit too much fertilizer in their system. Maybe they had a couple extra fins they weren't born with, but it was always a lot of fun. It was always good to get outside and just be outside and enjoy it. And then when I got to high school and through college, I really didn't fish as much, which was sad, but it kind of other things took priority, and that wasn't really in the forefront of my mind. But a few years ago, really before COVID even hit, I know a lot of people got into fishing or got back into fishing around then. I started fishing again as just an outlet, a way to get outside, spend some time by myself, thinking about things, let the stress roll out. And I would go to the Harpeth River in Franklin, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. And I'd fish there. I'd catch, you know, small river, small creek, whatever you want to call it, bass and crappie and of course, a mess of panfish, bluegill, you know, long ear sunfish, the really pretty ones with the orange and the blue. But I really started enjoying getting back into it, getting out in the river and on the water. And so that kind of grew. And then I started doing the fly fishing thing. And that has really taken off for me. I love it. I love tying flies. I love the art of it. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the making something that's not necessarily easy as it is even more difficult, which seems ridiculous, but it is a lot of fun for me. And because of that, I've gotten to go to a lot of places and do a lot of new things with fishing that I hadn't done before. So whether it be going out with a guide, trying to catch a tarpon in Puerto Rico, or going out with my buddy Ty in Colorado, or my buddy Jay going to East Tennessee on the South Holston River. It's been a lot of adventures, and I look forward to many more. But I want to hear your adventures. So if you're watching, go ahead and call me. Call the number on your screen, and it looks like I've got a call coming in now. And the auto screen said, this is the Magic Man. So I think this actually may be my buddy Ty, and I'm going to go and cue him up. And Ty, you're on with the Whiskey Bugger. What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. What have you been up to?
I just finished up playing some really windy golf.
Oh yeah. Did it with that high altitude in Colorado and the wind? Did you drive it like 500 or 600 yards?
On a good day, maybe.
Yeah. So you're calling in. What's your fish story you've got for me?
And we've got a few, obviously, with, you got to be a part of some of this stuff. I'm actually going to tell one about my daughter. We took my two daughters out fishing at our local pond a couple of years ago, and actually went with Chris and his kids as well. And we were doing the same kind of fishing you were just talking about, putting a bobber and some bait on it. And my youngest daughter, Jessie, was catching them like crazy. And one of the stalker rainbows we caught kind of gutted the hook and wasn't doing super well. And as we took it off the hook, we threw it out in the water, and Jessie sees this bald eagle flying over, and she's like, "That eagle's going to eat it." And I'm like, they do that, but I don't think that's actually going to happen, girl. And then 5 seconds later, sure enough, swoops down, pulls this thing out. It was the most American thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
awesome.
I was going to say it's the most Colorado thing I've ever heard, but I think you can take that one step further and say that is a Norman Rockwell painting out in Colorado, right?
Yeah, it was incredible. And just to have her call her shot, I was like, all right, I feel like a bird whisperer or something. I was like, I don't know about this.
So Ty has a great channel. Everyone that watches this, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, go check out 8 Times Up Outdoors. That's 8X Up Outdoors on YouTube. It's a fun channel. They just had an award at a Colorado Film Festival for a really cool film they did about this group of guys that has been going fishing for 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out, and Ty, I can't wait to get back out with you in Colorado this fall.
I was going to say you had a couple of cameos in that film.
That's right.
That's what did it for us.
It was my physique that really set it over the edge.
I mean, that was the award we got, was best physique.
That's right. And there was plenty of lookers in that one as well. So I'll take the award for that. Well, Ty,
we'll see you in October, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you. All right, first call successful, and we actually have one that's being screened right now. So I'll get that up just in a second. But once again, go check out 8 Times Up Outdoors. They're great friends of mine, Ty and Chris, Colorado boys that just have a lot of fun, and they definitely don't take themselves too seriously, or at least Chris doesn't take Ty too seriously is maybe the better way to say it. But like I said, the one thing I've learned through podcasting about whiskey and what I'm seeing translate over into the fishing world as well, as I kind of immerse myself back into that from not just childhood memories, but with friendships around it, is that it's really community based, and you make some of the best friends, which isn't easy to do as a man in your 30s or 40s. If you don't know or have a passion that you share with someone, it can sometimes be harder to get out there. But when you have a common theme throughout that friendship, whether it be fishing or whiskey or some sort of hobby, it really can make a difference, and you can make lifelong friends, even at the age that we're at now. But I've got another call in. This is from my buddy Casey. I'm going to put him on the line. And Casey, you're on with the Whiskey Bugger.
Hey, let's go. How are you?
Doing well. Good to hear from you, my friend. What's your fishing story?
I've got a few myself, but I'd always kind of go back to my favorite. And I would say it was the first time I went deep sea fishing. I went with my dad to Alaska. And I have family that lives in Anchorage, and I had a boat. Just wasn't used to it at all. So between the seasickness and everything else, it was a learning experience to say the least. But I just remember going out. We would drop some baskets to get some tiger tail shrimp, try to catch some lobster and come back and get it later. But we were, generally looking for salmon. But we were fishing and got a lot of rockfish. It was super neat to kind of just be involved in all of that atmosphere. And I just remember hanging off the front of the boat as we were going out to Prince William Sound. And all of a sudden I looked to my left and they're looking for a fishing spot. And I start pointing to the water. And it was because these porpoises had came up beside us and started coming in and out of the water, just swimming beside us. And that's kind of like a light bulb memory for me. But we caught so many rockfish and just salt, butter, pan, fried it on the boat, and stayed the night on the water a couple nights. And it was just, it's a memory that'll stick with me forever.
I love that, man. That is the best part of getting out there, doing something new, especially if it's with family or with friends, is just really making a memory. And you can, I'm certain you can still, smell the smells and taste the taste of that fish on the boat and probably feel the rocking of the boat even to this day because of how vivid that memory is in your mind.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want you to get seasick right now just thinking about it, but I'm certain it probably is that vivid.
I love it.
Well, Casey, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. And can't wait to talk to you soon, my friend.
Absolutely. You too.
All right, folks, I'm going to see if some more calls come in here, but thanks so much to Ty and Casey for calling in. Like I said, this is the inaugural podcast, not even podcast, because that's the other podcast I do with my buddy Grease, but Whiskey Bugger live stream. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. This is kind of getting my feet wet, testing out the waters, and it's a small channel, so it'll take time to grow that. But I really think that this is something that's fun, that people can enjoy as you can express yourself, you can tell your story, you can brag, or you can just recount a memory that meant a lot to you. But if you do want to get on, call that number on the screen. I've got a couple minutes left here before I dip out. But if you're new, if you just somehow stumbled upon this or saw a post about it that I did somewhere, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up on this video. Hopefully it'll get some more views. But I think it's a fun way to express yourself and to get some stories out there and just to have fun, because that's what fishing is about telling the stories, embellishing them a little bit, probably mostly. Ty and Casey were very modest, but I feel like as time goes on, these will hopefully get more outlandish as we go. A couple things I've done recently as far as fishing, and I'll do this while I see if I get a couple more calls in here. But I had an opportunity recently. We were on vacation down in the 38 area. I'll give a shout out to Captain John Jacob of 7-Weight Charters. I wanted to go red fishing. It's something I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on. I've seen a lot of people just really love that thrill of chasing these redfish and the fight that they'll put up. And so we were down on 38 area, Santa Rosa Beach. And I looked up at Captain, I read some reviews, and just had a great time, booked him for a half-day charter, go out on his beautiful skiff, and we just went in the bay right behind the Gulf there and chased redfish for the day. The water conditions weren't great. There was some pretty heavy storms the week before, so some of the flats that he normally hit were a little silty, not as clear as you'd like when you're sight fishing for redfish. But he put me on some fish, man, and you can only do so much. The guide can pull you right up quietly, not spook the fish. You can place the fly perfectly 4 feet in front of them and just tick it just right. And if they don't want to eat it, they're not going to eat it. I probably had 4 or 5 really good shots, and none of them took the fly. And then I had one shot where I casted. I thought it was a beautiful cast, and the fly landed right on the head of the fish, and it got out of there. But it's not always about the catching, and that's it's an old cliche that it's called fishing, not catching, because it's not always about catching the fish. But spending 4 or 5 hours out on a beautiful day, Even if the water in places wasn't as clear as we needed it to be, other places were great. It wasn't choppy. It wasn't too windy. It was just gorgeous. The temperature, 75 degrees, just perfect. Humidity wasn't too bad, and just getting to spend the day out on the water, talking with a very, very conversational guide who was kind, but also very good at coaching, especially for my first time out chasing redfish, it was a remarkable experience. I will definitely book him again. If you're interested, if you're going down to the Santa Rosa Beach area, or Emerald Coast, anywhere 30A, look up Captain John Jacob of 7-Weight Charters. I had a great time. Like I said, he's got a great story. He was a chef for a long time right in the area, and he got out of the restaurant business and went to a life of guiding. And it's just a really good time when you have a guide that, one, is good at coaching, good at telling you where to put the fly, good at adjusting your cast, or telling you different techniques that you maybe need to try out, but also at the same time not making you feel like a complete idiot that you are, especially if it's your first time chasing a very spooky fish. And that's exactly what I was. I was that big dum-dum that was out there trying to catch something I probably have no business going after. But it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. And it just reminded me how much fun I can have even without theoretical success, without getting that goal. But it also gave me a hunger to want it more. And I saw some pretty big redfish. And the only thing I could think while I was on the boat is, man, I just want to hook it. I just want to fight it for a minute. Even if I don't land it, I just want to get the thrill of that. But even just the technical skills that were required, I felt like I learned a lot and accomplished a lot just by even getting really good shots at the fish. And I can't wait to go do it again. It's absolutely worth every penny to get a guide for something like that. I've never had a trout guide. I look forward to doing that at some point, going on with some water and really learning those skills better. I've done a lot of fun trout rivers, some tailwaters, stocked fish around my area, and had a really good time with brown trout, rainbow trout. I even was up in Bar Harbor one summer and went through the Acadia National Forest just hiking, trying to find little streams, catch little native brook trout, which was just a blast. But I always think if you can find a guide, especially with an amenable personality, that it's a blast. It's something you should do because you can learn a lot and you can make a memory and just have a great time out honing your skills, but also potentially landing some really epic, great fish. So I appreciate Ty and Casey for calling in. I appreciate you watching, even if this is a replay or if you're listening on a podcast feed. You can follow me on Instagram at Whiskey Bugger. You can please subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up on this video just to get that in the system so that the algorithm knows that I exist. I'm going to keep putting out content, and I hope you like it. I hope you appreciate it. But go ahead, like I said, leave a comment below, even if this is over. And I'll do this again. I'm just getting started, and I appreciate all you for watching. But go ahead, subscribe. Go check me out even on Substack at Whiskey Bugger, on Instagram. I'm all those places. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for calling in, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers from the Whiskey Bugger.